Okay, testing 1, 2. Alright, Fortunate Son, Creedence Clearwater Revival. This is one of my all-time favourites. What an absolute classic tune. I've played this many times, but I've got to admit, I've been a bit lazy over the years and I haven't quite played it right. But today, I've been through this song with a fine tooth comb, and every little detail is in a chart which I've put in the description below. I've charted it all out for you. There'll also be little clips of that on the screen where I can. I'm going to do this slightly differently today. I'm going to play all 3 of the guitar parts that are on the record, and I'm going to play those all together now, and then we'll go through and analyse them. There will be timestamps below, so if you want to skip any part, then go for it and skip forward to where you want to. Alright, let's get straight into it. Here are those 3 guitar parts. Okay, so now we've heard all 3 guitar parts, let's get into it, and let's start with the first guitar part, the rhythm guitar part. Now, this is played by, obviously, John Fogerty and Tom Fogerty. Tom Fogerty plays the rhythm guitar part, John Fogerty plays all the lead line stuff. So we're going to start with the rhythm part. Now, the way that I worked this all out is, back in the day when they did this mix, it was a straightforward LCR mix, so left, centre, right. That means that those 2 guitars, one was panned left, one was panned right. In this instance, the lead guitar part is panned across to the left side, whilst the rhythm part is panned across to the right side. So if you just play the left or right sides, and you just isolate the left or right sides, and you can hear a lot more clearly what's going on with those guitar parts. The rhythm guitar part is quite straightforward. Now, I am using a Telecaster here. This would have been more of a Les Paul Rickenbacker vibed guitar, P90 pickups. However, this Telecaster is fitted with a bit of a mid boost in it, so I can get a little bit more of a gut bucket closer to a Les Paul. But if you want to get closer to the original sound, then a Les Paul's better way of going for this. So the underlying harmony, we have a G chord, we have an F chord, we have a C chord. That's the verses. And then in the choruses, we have a G chord, we have a D chord, and a C chord. Okay, and that's it. It's really, really straightforward. In fact, this part of the tutorial is going to be over and done with really quickly. We are playing bar chord shapes, not open chord voicings. These are a little bit too jangly. And it's all about the rhythm playing on this, really. So the first verse is G. So it's a slight palm mute, not too much. All downstrokes. It's not up and down strumming, it's all downstrokes. And I'm kind of bouncing off the strings a little bit. Okay, and then it just follows that rhythm. There's not really a huge amount of variation. It's just that all the way through. So G, F, C, back to G. And again, G, F, C, back to G. And in the choruses, we do G to D, to C, back to G, G to D, to C, back to G. We go round again, okay, and it just repeats that. The only variation is during the solo, where we're just pedaling on the G root note. All the way through the solo, just pedaling on that root note. It's all over G. And towards the end of the solo, as it comes out back into the verse, we do a bit of a crescendo build. And we build back in, and then we're back into our verse, back in here. Okay, so that's it. That's rhythm guitar part 1. Really straightforward. Let's look at the second guitar part. Now this guitar part, again, is exactly the same chords. It follows the same pattern with the verses and the choruses, but we just have these big downstrokes at the beginning of each bar. Okay, but there's a lot more drive on this sound, so I'm going to just switch on a few little pedals here, bring in a bit of my mid boost. So we've got my okay, so it's just following those chords, it's outlining the chords on the one of each down of the downbeat of each bar. And what that's doing, that's really low in the mix. You have to listen quite carefully to hear that in the song. And again, when you isolate the left and right sides, you can hear what's going on. But that is essentially helping glue everything together a little bit. So we've got these big distorted guitars. Now, throughout this song, with these rhythm parts and with the lead part, which we're just about to have a look at, there isn't huge amounts of distortion. On the rhythm part in particular, it's actually quite a clean sound. It's on the edge of breakup. So what I mean by that is if we play it gently, we've actually got a very clean sound. It's not until we start digging in, because the amp's just driving once we start hitting it harder, that we just start to getting that edge of breakup. So that's where you want to be. So it's not full, again, it's not crazy amounts of distortion here. I'm also using a little bit of slapback delay just to kind of really put it in the forefront of the mix, and a very close reverb, spring reverb on there. So not too much. The reverbs most likely would have come from the amps, and they would most likely have been spring reverbs, although I can't guarantee that 100%. But yeah, not too much echo, not too long a hall or cathedral style reverbs. It's all very close. Get that in your face sound. Okay, so the lead guitar parts. So this is John Fogerty, and on the original recording, this is on the left hand side. So if you solo out the left hand side, you'll be able to hear these parts in a little bit more detail on the track. The guitar is tuned down to D standard, so that's like open standard, but everything down a tone. So you might struggle to get your guitar to sit in tune down there a little bit to begin with. Depends on the setup, string gauges, all these sort of things, but persevere with it. I will put the licks down below for this, so you can follow it along on the tab, but you can also, as I mentioned before, print off the PDF score, which is in the link in the description below. Okay, let's get straight into this, and let's start with the opening line. Okay, so we've got this opening riff, which sounds like this. It plays that again. Okay, so twice round. So let's take this from the beginning. We play our second finger on the 3rd string on the 4th fret, and we slide that up to the 6th fret. And then we immediately play the 1st string on the 5th fret. So a bit of a string skip there. Now, John Fogerty, I've noticed on YouTube, plays this in 2 different ways. Sometimes he uses the plectrum on both notes, so down, up. Sometimes he uses his finger to pluck the high string, which I actually really like. It gives you a little bit of bite. Then we take that whole shape and we move it down a tone, so 2nd up to the 4th, and then hit the 3rd string, sorry, the 3rd fret on the 1st string. Then we're going to play an open 3rd string and hammer onto the 2nd fret on the 3rd string. And then we're going to follow that by the 1st string on the 2nd fret. And we're going to repeat that hammer on, but this time we're going to play the open E, or what's now the open D. Okay, so play it one more time. And then that whole phrase is finished up or followed up by this line, which is really cool. it's the 3rd fret on the 5th string to an open G, and you slight bend on that. So it's like the minor 3rd bending just up to the major 3rd, and then an open G. And what's really important here, because we're about to play that whole thing again, is when we play that pull off, it's not really a pull off, it's 2 individual hits. If you try to pull off, it doesn't quite get as much attitude on the open G. So we really want to dig in now to get that bite. When we play that open G, we let that ring through and we play the lick again, but we try to let that ring through as long as we can. So and then on the second time we do exactly the same thing again, but we do an extra hit on the G on the 1 of the verse. And that leads us into the first chord of the verse. Okay, so as we move into the verse and the chorus section, we have a lick that's thrown in on every 4th measure. What I mean by that is that the chord progression is going G to F to C and then back to G. It's when we get to that G that there's a lick that's been thrown in. Now, to help us visualize these licks, if you like to visualize things around scale shapes, if we think about our classic minor pentatonic scale shape, but in this instance it's actually a major pentatonic scale. I'm not going to get too bogged down in the theory here, but starting from the 2nd fret, so that classic box shape, it's rooted here, that's why it's a major pentatonic scale shape. Our licks are falling in around that box, around that pentatonic scale shape. There are some notes that fall outside of it because it's essentially a hybrid of both major and minor thirds within these licks, but referencing that box will help us find shapes and find finger positionings. I'm going to break this down lick at a time. So for example, we're going to start in verse 1, lick 1. And then we'll do verse 1, lick 2, then chorus 1, lick 1, chorus 1, lick 2, and so on and so forth. Let's start by having a listen to the first lick in verse 1. Okay, so that lick is this. Alright, so let's break that down really slowly. So we're going to be playing the open, what would be the G string, but it's obviously now the F string. And it's quite staccato, this. It's not... There's a little stop there before we hit the next note. So we hit that open string, and then on the 2nd and the 3rd string, we're going to take a bar on the 2nd fret. We're going to play both those notes. And if you think about that as a G chord, obviously it looks like an A chord, then we know that that is our root note and our 3rd. So it's a major 3rd that's being played here. And there's a slight bend on that, you know, to give it that bluesy edge. And then we're going to go up to our 4th fret here on the 4th string, back to the 2nd fret on the 3rd string, and then we're going to take our 5th fret on the 3rd string and do the bend off to the open. Okay, when we hit that open, we can actually let that ring through again into the next chord sequence. So one more time. Now when we hit that open string and it rings through, obviously the next chord is the note G, and that is the G note, so it's going to blend in really nicely. However, if that's still ringing quite loudly over the F and over the C, it could start to get a little bit clashy, but you know, just play it by ear a little bit and back it down if it's starting to feel a bit clashy as it goes into that F and C chord. Okay, lick number 2. Alright, so let's have a listen to this lick. So it starts on beat number 2. So very similar. So we're going to start with this bend from the 5th on the 5th string, 3rd fret to open. Then we're going to take this same little major, what we're going to call a dyad if you like, 2 notes, the 3rd and the root, open 2nd, and then again back to the bend off. Same thing, let that note ring through. Really cool. Okay, let's move into the chorus. So this is the chorus 1, and this is lick 1 in the chorus. Let's have a little listen to it. Alright, so we've got a whole thing going on here. So the first bar is taken up from this open G, which comes from the previous lick. So that's the first bar, is that. But then we're going to move into the E, into the D chord, and we're going to play this line, which is on the low 6th string, So two open Ds, 3rd fret, and then skip a string to the 4th and play the 2nd fret. Okay. Then we're going to play this line which is on the 4th string. We're going to play open. I'm going to use my 3rd finger here, but you could use your 2nd if you wanted. So 0, 2, 4 on a slide. And then we're going to do a string skip again up to the 2nd string on the 3rd fret. Okay, so from the top there, so we start off with our open string, which is from the previous lick. And then we're going to take the 4th fret on the 3rd string. We're going to do a bend up, back down, and then pull off to the 2nd. Okay, so from the top, open string from the previous lick. And then to finish that lick, we're going to play. So that's that same bend, but there's a little bit more to it. This one we're going to bend down on the 5th string on the 3rd fret, 2 opens, bend, open. Same thing. That open string is now going to be the first note of the next lick into the next lick 2 on the chorus. Into the second part of the chorus, first bit of it is exactly the same. So we've got the first bit, then this time instead of doing the slide up, we're going to play 3 individual notes. Slide. Okay. So all exactly the same apart from the fact that there's no slide. And then we're going to play this. So that is where we had to bend on the 4th fret on the 3rd string. We're going to do almost the same thing but on the 4th string. And then we're going to go back to our 3rd fret on the 5th string. But instead of playing the open to end, we're going to play the octave of that, which is the 2nd fret on the 2nd fret on the 3rd string. So 2, 3, 4. Okay, and then again, this note now is going to ring on to the next phrase, which is back into verse number 2. Okay, so verse number 2, let's have a listen to the first lick. Okay, so this one, we've got same lick again. So bend down on the open string, on the 3rd fret to the open string. 2 notes here, 2nd and 3rd string on the 2nd fret. Open, back on, bend and off. Okay, let's listen to lick number 2. Alright, awesome. So this one's a little bit different. Okay, so we are going to start with our 1st finger on the 1st fret on the 2nd string. And we're going to play that with the open string underneath it. So now we have a minor 3rd here. You can see so far we've been playing this major little triad here. Well, it's not quite a triad, but... And then we've got the minor 3rd now. Okay, and so the first thing we're going to do is going to play that. And then we're going to go up to the major, the 2 notes. But instead of doing the bar like we have been doing, because we've got our 1st finger here, it's easier to use our 2nd and 3rd fingers. And then we've got our standard open on to the 2nd fret, so that's on the 3rd string, and then our bend off. So really cool. So this is where we're playing just outside. This note here is always the minor 3rd, which is playing outside the box, the scale box. And we've got one here, which is also playing outside that box. So it's where it's a hybrid scale. Okay, let's look at the next lick. So we're moving into the chorus now, so chorus number 2, and let's have a listen to chorus number 2. Okay, really cool. So for this one, we've got, again, we're going to be starting off with our open string again, then we've got our same lick on the open D string. The 3 notes running up. So they always have that same pattern to begin with. And And then to finish this phrase, so we're going to repeat that bend, and then we're going to play the 4th fret on the 4th string back to the root note G on the 2nd fret on the 3rd string. Really lovely, that one. Let's move on to chorus 2, lick 2. Okay, so this one leads into the solo. So we've got a simplified ending on this one, which is quite simply just that. So we've got... And then we're into the chorus. Then we're into the solo. One more time. Okay, play through all of those. Let's have a look at the solo section, and then we're going to play the licks for the outro chorus. Okay, so let's take a look at this solo. Some really cool parts going on here. Very simple solo, but really effective. We start off up here on the 9th and the 8th fret. So we've got our first finger on the 8th fret on the 2nd string, which is our F, and then our D, which is on the 9th fret on the 3rd string. We play those two notes together. And there's a slight slide into that. Whether you come from 1 fret below or 2 frets below, doesn't really matter. It's hard to hear exactly because it's quite quick, but just to slide in. 2, 3, 4. Then we move that down 1 semitone. 2, 3, 4. And then we hit it on beat number 4 as well. So we've got 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. And we re-hit it and slide it down to the 3rd and the 4th fret. And then we re-hit that and slide it up 1 tone to the 5th and the 6th fret. And it does that twice. Okay, so here we go from the top. 1, 2, 3, 4. Or it's the slide into that. 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, Back in. And what actually happens as well is there's a big downbeat, a big hit on the open G string at the very end. So 1, 2, 3, 4, and it gives us again a little bit more impact as we move it into verse number 3. Okay, verse number 3, let's have a quick listen. Okay, so this is a repeating lick. We've had this one before. We've got the bend off from the 3rd fret on the 5th string to the open. We've got our little bar across the 3rd and the 2nd string on the 2nd fret. Open, back down, and then bend and pull off. It's not a pull off, it's actually 2 hits. Okay. So we've had that one before. Okay, so let's move on to the next one. So this is lick number 2 in verse 3. Okay, nice easy one this one. So we're going to start with the open F string, which obviously would be the G string. Then we're going to use our bar again across. You don't have to bar, you can play 2 fingers, but either way it's up to you. The bar is sometimes slightly easier to get the bend in, but across 2nd fret, strings 3 and 2, back to the open, back to the 2nd, both on the 3rd string, and then we've got our 5th string bend off, so from the 3rd fret, and then re-hit the open G. So let that ring through, and then we're back into chorus at number 3, and this is the final chorus, and it repeats to fade. Okay, so there's a few licks, and at the end it just fades out. So let's go through some of these licks. So we've got our usual part. We're starting obviously on this open G string, which is from the previous lick. Then we have our usual open D run up. Now we've got our step up from on the D string. Okay, so that's all exactly the same. And then we have this lick, which was the same as one of the previous ones. We repeat that bend up. And both the first and second time of this chorus is that exactly the same lick. So 1, 2, 3, 4. Okay, so that's lick 1 of chorus 3, and it's lick 2 of chorus 3. And then we're going to move on, because this is a repeating chorus now, because obviously, like I said, it repeats to fade. The next lick is a little bit different, and it's quite fun. So again, all exactly the same. Let's have a quick listen to it to begin with. Okay, Okay, so on this one we've got the same thing. We're obviously starting with this open, in this instance, the second string, because we've come at that from the, we've come at it from that. So we are now going to play exactly the same thing. And now we've got this lick. Okay, so you can see this is all directly linked around that pentatonic box. We're going to take the second fret on the fourth string, hammer on to the fourth, and then play the second underneath it on the on the second fret. So you might find it easier to do a little bar here. And at the end we finish off with the open G string. So back to this. And at this point it gets a little bit hazy because the volume is faded out quite a lot. So really you could just use any combination of licks that we've just learned and just throw any of those in instead. So that's it, that's all the licks. So go through those and practice it. I'm going to put on the rhythm guitar now and I'm going to play it through so that you can then solo over the top. So it's like a little backing track if you like, and I'll do a little voiceover on it so you can clearly hear all the different sections, where you're at, lick 1, lick 2 and so on and so forth. So play along with that, there'll be a metronome on it, download the PDF, please do like and subscribe for more videos, and I'll see you on the next one. Thank you. 1, 2, 1, 2, 3, 4, intro.